This is JordangeVision. Pull up a seat and kick up your feet. Welcome, guys. How are we doing? It is time for another reaction to Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, and we are at the final episode at long last. So, what happened last time? So episode 8 kind of reiterated, that the Menendezes had a bunch of fans. They were getting a lot of fan letters. They were greeted by adorers at the courtroom every day. So it basically kind of showed that they had a lot of support going into the trial, including Lyle's pen pal, Norma, who wrote to him, and eventually they started talking on the phone type of thing, but more on her later. It kind of goes through Erik's testimony and how Erik kind of got frustrated with the microphone, and how that might have not worked in his favor so much. Although if it was me, I'd kind of be the same, to be honest. But yeah, the trial eventually ends in a hung jury. That just the men and the women on the jury are not able to agree, and eventually they call a hung jury, and they have to do a new trial. They have to start all over again. So Leslie kind of holds a meeting with the female jurors who were going to rule in their favor. What was it that they liked? What was it that the other jurors didn't like? Type of thing. Trying to strategize for the next trial. And it's one juror who kind of approaches Leslie on her own, saying, I really don't think the men liked you. Leslie was kind of blaming it on the men, not liking them and, not sympathizing with them. But the one woman really just stands up and says, you're just not that likable. It's a little bit later now, and Lyle is approached in prison by his lawyer, Jill, who's basically furious at him because, of the conversation with Norma that are now getting out. And Norma is about to release a book with them. So there's a lot of stuff in those conversations basically saying, I know how to manipulate a jury, yada, yada, yada. Jill is kind of at her wit's end. So she's basically saying, we can't call you in the second trial because, if you're on the stand, the prosecution can ask you anything you want. It can be anything about, what's on those tapes. And so it's basically an uphill battle this time. And eventually Jill says, I'm not coming back to this trial. Leslie is staying on, just kind of as a goodwill gesture, but yeah, they're pretty much out of money. They're pretty much out of hope, I guess, and the attitude has changed. So they are going into the second trial, and they've kind of been pushed to the back burner because some guy named O.J. Simpson, who was a little bit famous before, decided to murder a couple people, allegedly. It turns out, at least as far as the TV show is concerned, that O.J. Gets a cell next to Erik Menendez, and they have a little talk, which ends the last episode. I don't know if that's just a little bit of an Easter egg, or if that's going to be, an ongoing thing going into this last episode. I wouldn't think so. I don't think they're connected too much, but yeah, it was just a little interesting thing for the end of that episode. But yeah, we are going into the final episode of the miniseries now, so let's get into it. Let's see how this ends. Yeah, I'm excited. Here we go. Before I get started, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and don't forget, reacting to art is sharing art. Channels like these benefit everyone from the viewers all the way up to the original creators themselves. Also, reminder, spoilers are like this. If you haven't seen this episode yet and would like to, please feel free to click off and take care of that first. I'll be here when you get back. But those of you who are sticking with me, pull up a seat, kick up your feet. The final episode of Monsters, the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, and the title is Hangmen. All right, let's see what we got.
In the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211.
So there was a bit of OJ at the
We,
beginning.
the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant,
Dominic was there too.
Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony
Oh, that
upon
shocked
Nicole
face
Brown
on him.
Simpson.
Interesting how they're not showing OJ's face. They didn't in the last episode either. So yeah, 1995.
So what are you saying? That we're fucked now?
This is when
Because
the second trial
I
happened.
gotta level with you. OJ is like the biggest fucking killer of all time, right? And he got away with it.
You're not OJ.
Garcetti cares about one thing only, and that is his re-election. That is why they are trying to gut our case, because they need a win, and they need it now.
Then you
They're
need
gonna be
to file
pissed
a
after
motion.
OJ.
This is even more of a reason that we're not gonna bring on some shitty fucking public defender, Leslie.
Charles Gessler is the best in LA.
Oh, is he?
Oh,
Lyle? It's nice to finally meet.
okay. So there's the new lawyer, I guess.
My preference would be to have Jill back or call Cochran.
I can't just call Cochran, and you don't have any
the
money.
Jill bridge has sailed.
If you can help by pledging an amount on the 15th of each month, a monthly pledge card to the Lyle Menendez
Oh.
Defense Fund.
Dude's getting desperate.
How many times have I told you to stop writing letters?
Yeah, probably
because
not
they
helping
will-
yourself.
Look,
Says the woman making $4,000 a day on Dayline, blabbing about OJ and attacking the exact same people.
Okay.
who are
It's
trying to
called
take
a
us down.
job,
Okay.
okay? And
Yeah,
while
it's a
we're
little
talking
different.
about money, I am still here fighting for your life pro bono. Did you order a new wig and have it sent to the jail and it cost $2,500?
You almost forget that he's bald.
You know what he had figured out? He had a fucking catchphrase. And I think that we would all benefit from a catchphrase. And I think
Okay,
that our
what's your
could
catchphrase?
be, if you've been abused, you cannot be accused.
Yeah, it's not going to work for you. The fact that even Eric's laughing at that.
So fun. Eric, do I need to remind you why we're here in the first place?
Yeah, in case you forgot.
Because of you.
There's shared blame here. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's the book.
In his own words.
Fuck that crazy bitch.
No. No. They have hours of you on tape.
Okay, again, I did not know that she was fucking
And
recording
you sound
me, Eric.
insane!
Even if you didn't, you know, you don't know who you're talking to.
Fucking you say your eyes are black. They call you a psychopath. So
They called him that before, but yeah.
We were Lyle, everyone hates us. Everyone wants us dead. And I'm really scared because I don't want to die. And I don't want you to die, and I
Are they still
hate
facing
what
death?
we did here.
Obviously,
in this
that's not what
hellhole.
happened,
I'm
but
thinking
yeah.
about it because it's all up to me now, and I really don't know if I can get back up there and do it again. I don't know.
Well, you better figure it the fuck out, because I'm not dying in here just because you're a pathetic, weak little bitch.
All right, enough.
Oh, they're gonna kill each other now.
I should have fucking killed you too, you
There he is. There's my brother. The killer.
It's all coming out.
So that is their strategy, to put the parents on trial because the defense fails logically, psychologically, and legally. Phony
That was kind of the
story,
strategy the first time, too.
Objection.
Overruled.
So it will all come down to the testimony of Erik Menendez, the killer, and whether you're going to believe him.
Objection.
Ms. Abramson, we're not doing this.
Sounds like we are.
Let him speak.
Erik Menendez can say anything in the world, but remember what Lyle and Erik Menendez did. Jose
Oh, he's
Menendez, the Alfa Romeo that he purchased for his son Lyle, correct?
That's correct.
Oh, we're going way back.
Dad, this car's a piece of shit.
Oh, ungrateful
And
much?
What was the sticker price for this, quote, piece of shit?
$32,000.
Objection.
What are you objecting to?
Yeah, what
That
does
the
this matter?
price matters.
Sit down, please.
They got nothing.
See, this feels like a fucking clown car. I feel like a fucking
Okay.
clown.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll get you a different one. We thought, your mother and I, that this was the car for
Well, you thought wrong. Let's wrap
It does
this
look
up,
tiny.
Sign the fucking papers. Thank you for buying me a piece of shit.
This is kind of one where I'm on the
Show
parents'
on
side
NBC.
here.
This is an unproduced screenplay you and Eric wrote.
Correct.
And to the best of your knowledge is the NBC show starring Jennifer Aniston and others about people who viciously murder their parents in cold blood.
Objection.
Yeah, I don't remember that episode if that's the case.
Objection. Relevance.
If I may, you can't object to everything he says, counsel.
Sounds like a challenge.
Craig, Eric confessed to you, did he not?
He did.
But it's not the story that they told Dr. Oziel.
No.
What was
Nor
different?
is it the-
Okay.
But he didn't go in through the front door. He went in through the living room window.
And did he say why?
Yeah, because those doors were quieter and he didn't want to wake them up.
They weren't sleeping, though. That's the first I'm hearing of that.
That was when they murdered their sleeping parents.
Yes.
Lyle, we gotta change our fucking clothes. Look, there's blood.
Why didn't you do that at the house?
Objection. Strike that from the record.
You're shouting, counsel.
Well, I'm sorry I'm shouting. I'm angry. So my voice is loud.
I don't care if you're angry. You will control yourself in my courtroom.
Charlie, are
He's
you
a hard-ass
familiar
judge.
with a film called The Billionaire Boys Club?
Yeah. It's basically what Lyle and Eric did. Rich kids who kill their parents for money.
Objection.
The court is going to hold you in contempt.
Well,
For
I'm going to hold the
objecting?
court in contempt pretty soon because I am finding your rulings astonishingly biased.
Oh.
Eric didn't just
Saying that in open court, wow.
happen. So 14
really?
months before he killed his parents, Eric heard the story of how your parents were murdered for money.
Wait,
Yes.
so the friend's
correct.
parents were murdered too?
He wanted me to watch this movie called At Close Range.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And then I need you to say that you and me watched it with my dad, and that he said that the movie was unrealistic because the father would have killed the son as soon as the trouble started and not waited, and that you were shocked when he said that. My
Man,
dad
you
was
can't leave a
powerful
paper trail
person,
like that.
And that you
Does he have the letter?
Please state.
Hi, Eric.
Objection.
I literally just said hi.
Intimidation.
You're objecting to high?
Eric, is it true you contemplated using a crossbow to kill your parents? Hunt them like animals?
Well, you could do it with a crossbow. When we were at the gun store and we thought we wouldn't be able to get a gun, I just noticed that.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna do that, you need other options, right?
Because if you saw crossbows at the place you were trying to get a gun, it means you weren't just thinking about getting a gun, it means you had already tried to get one.
Your Honor, I'm gonna have to object to that relevance.
Overruled.
Oh, man. She's not having a good time.
It is central to the state's interest in this case.
Correct. I'll allow it.
Mistrial.
Oh, Miss
Leslie, counsel.
Oh, wow.
Just stop.
Your Honor, she wants to derail this line of questioning because it proves special circumstances making her clients eligible for the death penalty.
No.
Oh, so they are.
Just like to be heard.
Ms.
Your
Abramson,
Honor.
stop it.
You will get your chance, but
When you purchased guns, is it true you initially bought birdshot as ammunition?
I don't think so. I think.
I'm trying to remember
These are
too.
Your word. And after you had fired approximately 12 rounds of buckshot into the bodies and into the faces of your mother and father.
Objection, we dispute that number.
I said
He
approximately.
said
Your
approximately.
No
Yeah,
left.
he did.
No left.
Honor.
in
No,
this court.
No, counsel, no. And there.
she's gonna attack
there
him.
and there. If there's no love in this courtroom, it's the two heartless murderers who had no love for their parents. Because if you love your parents.
Not exactly true.
If it's a lack of love you're feeling, counsel, I think it's on that side of the table.
This guy is too good.
I will quote you again. Quote,
Okay.
Lyle came out, and the ammo was rolling around in the trunk everywhere, so I handed the round to him. Did you say that?
Okay. He must have if it's on that sheet.
Eric, when you and Lyle were lying to your family, to the press, saying you believed it was the mafia, you said something
sounds like old news now.
interesting.
You know, the mafia, they shoot out people's kneecaps, and just all in all, they.
If you shot their kneecaps,
you
maybe
did
they
that.
believe you.
You and Lyle
Oh, okay, they did.
shot out your mother's kneecap so many times that her skeleton, quote, effectively lost all structural integrity.
Objection.
Overruled.
If I hear objection overruled one more time.
You planned to make it look like the mafia did it. You bought shotguns, you bought buckshot.
That does sound
shot it
pretty
through the knee,
premeditated
you shot
when you
him
put it like that.
multiple.
And we were just trying to be prepared to defend ourselves because when I was growing up,
They planned a little bit.
my dad always told me that if I ever told anybody what was going on between us, that he would kill me.
The way you did it proves that it was a premeditated double murder.
Have you ever been raped by your father, Mr. Khan?
Completely irrelevant.
wow.
Objection.
Oh, no, we will get to
Oh,
the
wow.
lie that you were sexually abused by your parents.
Objection.
Overruled.
He's
Your
playing
Honor.
that too.
Should we?
There are 2 days in my life I'll never forget. The day JFK was shot, and the day I saw Erik and Lyle Menendez talking that way to their parents.
Don't fucking defend him, I told you to shut the fuck up.
Hey, what
So
day
this
was
guy heard all that.
Saturday.
Saturday, the day before the murder.
So the day before, okay.
And did Lyle and Eric seem scared of their parents?
No. Their parents were scared of them.
That scene, they don't look
That day on
scared.
the boat.
They found out the boat was used in the movie Tequila Sunrise, and they really liked that.
Dude, I fucking love that movie. I got the third base watching that movie.
Yeah, it's Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
She's so.
Not
First
exactly the
thought
attitude I
was-
saw the first time they showed them on the
Oh, yeah.
boat.
My bedroom was in the main house by the kitchen.
Eric has testified that it was a violent home, that they were always fighting, that the parents hit them and screamed at them. Yes?
No, I never heard any shouting.
Are
fighting.
you deaf?
Eric's.
I never heard fighting, no shouting.
Dude, you must have had
They were
earplugs in
just
all
very
day.
messy.
Did you ever see him hit them? Or threaten them or shout at them?
Never. Not once.
I mean, he probably
Jose
would have
was
kept that
not
away from
an
his
angry
employees.
man.
She gave up everything for them. And for them to accuse her of the things that they're saying that she did. You're gonna burn in hell for that, boys.
Oh, wow.
This is their only piece of evidence that abuse took place. This is a doctor's report that one time Erik Menendez got a bruise in the back of his throat.
Back of the throat. Wonder how that got there.
A bruise that their own witness admitted is commonly seen in children.
Oh, not that. I mean, it does happen, but yeah.
None of that is true. There is not a shred of evidence that any of that ever happened. I demand a mistrial.
No.
sit down.
She's trying.
Ms. Abramson, sit down. Now.
She's about to strangle the judge.
It's all in
Oh,
here,
man.
ladies and gentlemen. Down to how you should wear a yellow sweater on the stand to seem innocent. Since his
that work?
alleged abuse, how many hours did they spend confessing to Dr. Oziel? They mentioned every other excuse. Why didn't they mention sexual abuse then?
I don't know why they didn't,
He
like,
killed their
after they were
parents.
dead, but
Why didn't
I know
he
why they
mention
didn't while
the
they were
reason
alive.
They killed because it didn't even occur to them to say it until they met that woman right over there.
Objection.
Overruled. That woman whose last high-profile murderer client got off. How?
He's making
The
it
abuse
personal.
excuse.
Like, this is against Leslie, too.
And you weave that into a story so horrific, it's almost impossible to believe. Don't feel badly if you don't believe it, ladies and
the
gentlemen.
last jury
It is
believed it.
literally, and isn't it convenient that the only two people who could corroborate Leslie Abramson's story are dead in the ground? Oh, and they're paying her. Isn't that
Not paying her
incredible?
now.
Dead
This
Jose.
is pro bono, right?
It's not going to work this time because even if their story was true, they are still guilty of first-degree murder. They were lying
She's as
in
mad
wait.
as I've ever seen her.
Unfortunately, it happens to millions of people all over the world. What is not common is murdering people with shotguns.
Definitely got a point there. Like, a lot of people abuse, they
It's
don't
not
all end up murdered. But
What is not common is placing a shotgun to the cheek of your mother, whose knee you shot out, whose fingers you've blown off, and pulling the trigger.
Your Honor, would the court ask Miss Abramson to stop playing hangman with her client?
what? Now you're gonna police
Counsel,
this?
will you-
Oh, wow. Not even gonna let her have any fun. The next word was gonna be bullshit.
Lyle stated that his biggest goal in life was to have a Rolex. Eric's never had a job.
Finally got one.
2 jobs. Their father told them that he was taking them out of the will.
So good luck, kids. You're on your own.
Ended
They
up
had to
not
kill him
happening.
before that happened. Lyle and Eric drove around Beverly Hills with a safe. Eric slept with a safe. Who does that?
If I had a safe lying
Love.
around, I'd sleep with a safe.
Opened that safe.
No one's getting
and
my
he was
safe.
all alone. Was the new will in there? The one that cut him and Eric out of the will?
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
We
will,
know
actually.
that.
Like, when they
and in
found
the
that will,
weeks
was that
and
the actual
months
will? Or...
now, the defendants and their legal team are guilty.
Stop
Not just
attacking
of
the lawyers.
crime of- They're guilty of exploiting the trauma of real sexual abuse victims
we're
everywhere.
going this deep, eh?
They're guilty of taking the memories of the good, decent, loving mother and father whom they killed and dragging those memories.
They're
to a
internally vomiting
putrid
right now.
cesspool. Jose and Kitty Menendez were sleeping.
Again, where's the proof that they were sleeping?
They couldn't defend.
They were sleeping with the TV on?
But make no
I mean, sometimes you
mistake,
fall asleep with the TV on, but
Jose
the
and
TV
Kitty
was
are
on.
calling to avenge them.
Do you still keep in touch with the Goldman family?
I do, actually.
More Dominic.
To think that O.J. Simpson is a free man, despite the overwhelming evidence against him. That's justice
he's
in
upset about
America
this one.
for you.
So, no plans to write about it?
None. I'm actually leaving for Connecticut next week to finish my book. Crown's been breathing down my neck.
Guess you gotta get your money.
If I'm being honest, I'm a little over the Menendez boys.
Yeah, it's been a few years there,
I
right?
think so is the rest of the country. In the
Kind of old news.
pantheon of, they've lost their luster, not to mention most of their groupies. However, I did hear that Lyle's in a rather serious committed relationship.
One of the prison pen pals, eh?
It started off as pen pals, but now it
Just
seems
like most things
Prince
did.
Lyle and his sweet Rapunzel are very much in love. And rumor has it, wedding bells could be in their near future.
I think they actually did get
What
married
about
in
Eric?
prison.
Sounds like Eric's been having a rough time of late.
Well, no shit.
Hey, give me back my book, please.
I didn't take your book.
Yeah, you did. I saw you take it. Give it back to me.
He is a little bigger than you, Eric. Oh.
Said, give me back.
He's been thrown in the hole for several breaches of conduct.
So stealing someone's property isn't a breach of conduct?
It's obvious he's feeling more on edge during this second trial than the first.
Still have the
I mean,
same
the second trial's a little more
Last
uphill,
I
right?
heard,
To my dearest Tammy, wishing you 300 days of love. We may
Okay.
be separated by thousands of miles, but I feel you.
Separated by a lot more than miles.
So, do you think he and Lyle will be found guilty this time?
who's to say?
After OJ, anything's possible, right?
I don't think this town could survive another gross injustice. If I still believed in hope, I'd certainly hope so.
The jury has reached a verdict.
Okay.
Defendants,
that was
please
fast.
rise.
Oh, I
We,
wonder
the
what it's
jury,
going to
find
be.
the defendant, Joseph Lyle Menendez, guilty of murder in the first
Yep.
degree for the murders of Jose Menendez and Mary Louise Menendez.
Well, we knew this was coming.
For the
So they're eligible for death now.
Under California law, the jury is only allowed to consider two sentencing options: life without parole or death.
That's what you get, right?
Don't give me that crap. Those shits deserve to die, and you know it.
Lee, we understand how you feel.
Jury
you
now.
have to-
We know
I
one
think
wants to
these
kill them at
boys were
least.
abused their entire lives.
Horse shit.
How can you say that?
Because it never happened.
That's what
Maybe
you
it
think.
Did. Did you hear their family? Their cousins?
Oh, come
Yeah,
on.
their family
He
corroborates
paid
it.
them to- If
Oh,
Andy
man.
cared so much about his poor little cousin, why didn't he say something about it years ago?
He was a child and he was scared.
Exactly, that's
And
why a lot of
what
people
about
don't speak
those
up.
horrible pornographic photos of the boys?
Yeah, those
Please,
exist.
They took those photos themselves. He's so
When they were
stupid.
kids?
That Jose.
If Jose was such a pedophile, why were there only two photos, huh?
They
Where
probably
were
hid the rest.
of them? Xander, let me see the one of the boys sitting on Jose's lap. You really think this is sexual abuse? Because where I come from, we call it a Christmas card.
Okay, Lee.
Well, how much are they wearing?
No. And then all that junk about attacking him with some Rambo knife? It's a load of shit. And if it was the truth, then he should have just run away or told the cops.
Lee, he could have been too scared to get the police involved.
Exactly.
You know what? It's like you were born under a rock or something.
I think
He
you were
saw
born
it
under a
on the
rock.
Stand. Nothing he said made any sense. None of it was
'Cause you
lie.
refused to make
It was
sense of
all-
it.
And don't even get me started on that creep in the wig. God only knows why he didn't testify. Hear him
Well,
on the tape.
we know why.
Talking about missing his parents that he murdered, like missing his dog. His dog? I think it's the
I miss
coolest
my
thing
dog,
I've ever
okay?
heard anyone
I
say.
think everyone
We
who's
have
lost a dog
sympathy.
misses
And
their
what
dog.
about that? What they did, they ran towards it. They ran towards the very
Wow.
thing that they say they were so scared of. It is the stupidest thing I've ever
Every jury's
heard.
got one, right?
And then they come in here with some insane story about Greek warriors and stuffed animals and shitting
They're
in
eating the
plastic
dogs, they're eating the
Tupperware
cats.
because they are evil little monsters and they deserve to die. And I will not stop until you all get your heads out of your asses and put them to death.
Oh, are you having?
You okay,
Oh
Lee?
shit.
Oh my god. Help!
Yeah, she got herself
Oh my
worked up.
God. Somebody get some help right now! Oh my god!
Well, I think you just lost your vote.
I gotta admit,
I guess that's a
I'm pretty
replacement.
nervous about being here. I've spent the last few weeks trying to figure out what I would do if I had to decide between life and death, and we never
Welcome,
heard
I guess.
anyone say they were. And I kept thinking about their relatives, talking about how much they love them, fighting for their lives. That's got to mean something.
I mean, you'd think so, right?
I don't know.
I think they like this guy a lot better.
If I were in their position and lived through what they said they lived through, I probably would have done the same thing.
You would
I
hope
never
not,
killed
but yeah.
anyone, but I've definitely snapped.
We've all
And I know
snapped,
we're
I'm
never
sure.
gonna know. I hope we all think about that. And I hope we make a decision we can live with, just like they did that night. Because we're gonna have to live with it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, true on both sides. I hope that woman didn't die or anything, but it's glad we got that closed-minded mind out of the jury room. I never actually heard about that, by the way. You know, a juror collapsing. Might be something I have to look into. They know they're up shit creek already. It's
Earlier,
just
a jury
which
recommended
fork.
that the jury could have recommended the death penalty, but after 3 days of deliberation, they opted to send the brothers to prison for the rest of their lives with no chance of parole.
Mr. Conn, are you disappointed the jury didn't recommend the death penalty?
I think the jury did
Prison
an
likes
excellent
it.
job.
Honestly, I feel a sense of enormous relief.
Is it a win?
Man, what's a win?
Not really a
they're
win,
gonna
but,
spend the
you
rest
know,
of their lives in prison.
they're not gonna die.
And if they do have to spend their lives in prison, at least they won't be alone. They will have each other.
Yeah. Did they finally get to be together now, since there's no trial anymore?
I know what you're up to, trying to separate the boys. It's cruel. It's punitive. Family members stay together.
Family members who conspired to get out of the murders they committed together?
Please.
God knows
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they
I guess
could
there's that
cook up
side
if
of it,
they lived in
too.
the same-
Everyone I have acquitted who is walking around Los Angeles. And you want to know what I realized? Is
No.
that Erik and Lyle Menendez are probably the least dangerous of all of them.
Oh, really? Bold statement, but I can kind of
They're
see
liars. They shot their parents while they were sleeping on a couch.
it. Again, the sleeping is debatable. Not that it matters, but yeah. This episode's the first I'm hearing of that.
People spend the rest of our lives in prison? Like, that's just... what purpose does that even serve? It's like...
Erik,
Is this like therapy or like confession or something?
the appeals process, it's good that you're
Okay,
going
so they are
through that.
appealing.
I don't want getting out of prison to be the only thing you hope for. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah, he just
Erik,
wants to
your
get
life
out of
is in
prison.
here now. You've got to find meaning and purpose in your life in here.
If that's going to be your life,
that
you
is
pretty much have
possible,
to.
Erik.
I don't know much about prison life, but you know, if that's going to be the rest of your life, then you got to make something of it. It's a drawing of them. Oh, we're back to the Milli Vanilli.
What's going on?
You and your brother are being transferred.
Okay. Are they being transferred together or transferred apart? Oh, the grand reunion.
Erik Menendez.
Yeah?
Hop in.
Where are we going?
Folsom Prison. Get
Oh,
comfy.
Folsom. Maybe you'll get to see Johnny Cash.
I said hop in.
Yeah, you don't really have a choice there, but amazing how it takes two vehicles to transport both of them. Like, you probably don't need two vehicles, but it's like maybe if people get wind that it's the Menendez brothers, you want to have a little security. It's almost like he's bopping to the music. I mean, the music's probably not really playing in their universe, but yeah.
Wait, why isn't their van following us?
Okay, so they're not going to be together. Yeah, Lyle's just figured it out too.
It is beautiful.
You know that there's
back on
a
the boat.
shipwreck?
Are we fishing for sharks?
Yeah. Didn't I tell you?
No. You said we were fishing. Say
I
shark
thought they did say
fishing.
shark fishing.
I was trying to close a deal with him, and he said that he loves the shark fishing shit. And I lied to him, and I said, yeah, me too.
So guess what?
Next time you're...
What kind of sharks are we fishing?
Lawyers?
No idea.
We're looking at blue sharks, mako, maybe a great white, but they'll be juveniles mostly.
I can't remember. Did they get
I was
any?
just gonna bite my arm off.
Yeah. Donna. Donna.
Stuck me with those boys all by myself when you were off with her.
Kitty cat, look at me. Look at me. Kitty cat, no. That is over. Things have
Promise?
changed. The thing that I needed the most, I had it with me. I had you. And I
That
love
wasn't
you.
your tone for most of this series.
But we fucking did it. We made it. And you know what? You should go back to journalism, Kitty.
Like what?
Are you trying to make
If
me
I'm
feel for
running
these
for
two?
Senate, you could be writing about me.
Talking about the future they're gonna have, and then that happens.
Wonderful husband I am.
Oh yeah? You better not be joking, because I just might.
That does sound a bit like a conflict of interest, but yeah.
Boys, come back here!
What is going on with them?
Who the fuck knows?
They're just scared of being murdered.
You're not chickening out, are you? You bought the guns.
Yeah, their minds are made up.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, interesting ending. Lyle and Erik Menendez maintain the allegation of sexual abuse at the hands of their mother and father. Yeah. They continue to serve life sentences without the possibility of parole. Yeah, still to this day. Yeah. Thought there'd be a little more Where Are They Now? That's your mini-series right there. All right. I'll see if there's anything in the credits, last episode and all, and then, yeah, we'll wrap this up. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching my reaction to the last episode of the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, the Monsters production. So, I I didn't do a lot of talking, I don't think, during that last one. I was kind of enthralled, I guess, by I guess the change of tone. I guess a lot of the previous episodes focused on like the sympathy towards them about the sexual abuse claims and even the adoring fans type of thing. People were kind of on their side, and yeah, there was definitely in the middle of the last episode, a shift. People do see them as the cold-blooded killers that a lot of people think they are, and that prosecuting attorney just kind of nailed that down and like everything he said, and the judge wasn't letting Leslie get away with anything. She was objecting to a lot, I know, but it felt like the judge and it felt like the prosecutor were just like they were against Leslie too. It was like an attack on her as well as an attack on them. Like Leslie objected to pretty much everything. She objected to high. She objected to like pretty much anything the prosecutor said. Like, judge is telling her like you can't object to everything, and she's just like, watch me, dude. Like even Leslie and Eric are playing a game of Hangman, and they try to put a wrench in that. It was just an interesting shift in the attitude, I guess, and I guess looked at it from all angles. Like Dominic Dunn, who had just gotten back from watching the OJ trial. Like we saw him in the OJ miniseries as well. It's kind of interesting because Nathan Lane played one of OJ's lawyers, F. Lee Bailey, in that miniseries, and he was happy in that one that OJ was acquitted. But now we see Nathan Lane kind of on the other side. Like I remember a couple of episodes ago, Dominic having that real heart to heart with Leslie about either everything they say about the abuse is true or you're an amazing coach or whatever. Yeah, I remember him saying like, I don't know which one of those scares me the most. At least temporarily, Dominic was on their side. And I imagine he might have shifted back with the rest of the country, I'm sure. But yeah, for that moment, you had this hardened victim advocate, Dominic Dunn, who was believing them. Yeah, it's interesting. There was a point one of my commenters made that I thought was an amazing point. It was something along the lines of, and this did not really happen, but it's kind of a what if it did type of thing. What if Dominique Dunn, as she was being attacked by her boyfriend, what if she had fought back and she had killed him? Again, it's not what happened, but would Dominic Dunn have the same attitude if it was her on trial for her boyfriend's murder? Or would he be defending his daughter? Like, would he still be on the same side if that's what happened? Obviously, things happened the way they did, and, it was the abuser who ended up killing her, and, I can see, obviously, why he wanted the conviction against his daughter's killer. But he kind of extrapolates that to every defendant ever. I don't know how many trials he's actually gone to. I wonder if he's actually believed a defendant was not guilty, at least in a high-profile case. Obviously, he didn't feel that way about OJ. He didn't feel that way about the Menendez brothers for long. So we did get that little closure on the Dominic Dunn story as well. Obviously, they got convicted. They were in the same jail for a while, and then they got separated. Eric going to Folsom and Lyle going somewhere else. So I don't know if that's the way it is right now to this day. Obviously, they are both still in prison. Yeah, I don't know if they're both in the same prison or... It was interesting the way they chose to end as well with Jose and Kitty on the shark fishing boat. Jose and Kitty kind of making peace and saying, the cheating is behind me now. Like, you're the only thing I want. You should go into journalism. I'm going to run for Senate. Meanwhile, their sons are on the dock and saying, they've already decided at this point that they are going to kill their parents. So it was kind of a poignant ending. It's interesting that they chose to end on something like that. Like almost kind of making me feel sympathy for the parents for once. Although they were definitely not angels in this by any means. No one in that family really was. Because, as I've said throughout this whole series, abuse is abuse, murder is murder. I do feel sympathy for what the two brothers went through, but I don't agree with how they responded to it, obviously. At the same time, I do still kind of believe, that the abuse happened. I think some of it near the end might have been embellished a bit, but I do agree with the basic statement that the abuse happened, and not just the sexual abuse, but the verbal abuse as well. Their father was not the nicest person in the world. Yeah, and I can believe that. And I can kind of believe as well that maybe the way that their parents talked about them, that maybe they did have some reason to fear for their lives. Obviously not in that moment, because their parents were just sitting there watching TV. I still think they were watching TV. I don't know where the evidence came that they were sleeping. Every instance I've seen of them up until this episode, they were watching TV. But yeah, it was just a dysfunctional family all around, and like nobody really won in that. They kind of got what they wanted to begin with, but they ended up in jail for it. And, maybe rightfully so, but that's the law. You murder someone, most of the time you're going to go to jail unless you have a really good reason. So that does do it for the miniseries. Which was very well done, by the way. The actors, the actors who played the brothers, incredible. Javier Bardem as Jose was great. Kitty Menendez, Chloe Sevigny was great. Nathan Lane, like, I can't speak enough about Nathan Lane. Ari Gaynor, who played Leslie Abramson, I really liked her too. Like, as far as the miniseries goes, miniseries was a 10. So I'm going to conclude my dive into the Menendez rabbit hole, I guess, by watching the Netflix documentary. So here's how that's going to happen. Like, I've got my rotation of 2 Only Murders in the Building episodes and 2 Menendez episodes, as I have been doing. There's one more Only Murders in the Building episode, and I'm going to start watching my next series, Adolescence, where the 10th episode of Menendez would be. I'm going to put the first episode of Adolescence, and then I'm going to put the Menendez documentary into my next movie slot after that. My next rotation is just going to be the remaining 3 episodes of Adolescence. There's only 4. The rotation after that, I'm going to start 2 new shows. I haven't decided exactly which 2 new shows, although I think one is going to be Baby Reindeer. That's going to be the plan for the next little bit. So I do have the Menendez documentary reaction coming up as well. Since there wasn't a whole lot of where are they now, it just kind of said, you know, Lyle and Erik are still in prison. They still maintain that they were abused. I was hoping for a little more where are they now after it was over, but they didn't really give us a lot. Like, they didn't say where Leslie is now or where Dr. Ozila is now or anything like that, or talk a little bit more about Dominic Dunn's life. Dominic Dunn's not alive anymore, but I was hoping for a little more of that. There's not a whole lot to talk about there, but I'm sure maybe the documentary will tell us a little bit more about that. All in all, a very well done miniseries, and I'm sure the documentary will shed some light on what might have been true, what might have not been true. You know, I'm sure a lot of things were dramatized. Like, even the juror collapsing in the room today. I don't know if that happened. I've never heard of that happening. It might be something I look up right now, actually, to see if that's something that was actually real. I remember watching the O.J. Simpson miniseries as well, and one of the prosecutors collapsed in the courtroom in the show. It didn't actually happen in the courtroom, but it happened while they were having a meeting. So I know a lot of things may have been dramatized a little bit for the show. If it did happen for real, hopefully that woman's all right, although it definitely did play in the brother's favor as to not being sentenced to death, I'm sure. But yeah, all in all, it's very interesting to fall into a true crime rabbit hole like this, and it was a very interesting watch the whole way through, and I'm glad I watched it, and I'm glad you guys watched it with me. So thank you guys so much for your interest in my reactions to the Lyle and Erik Menendez story, The Monsters production. So I will have the documentary for you shortly, but that will wait till next time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out my sports vlogging channel, JordangeVision Sports. And once again, this is Jordan saying you can be productive sitting at home on your couch. All you need is a TV, a great catalog, and a vision. This has been JordangeVision. Have a good one, guys. Take care.